Eski Simple Home Lending in the house. How are you?
Whoop, whoop. Holly Amato in the house.
Coming in
Yippee.
hot tonight.
Cheers.
Yes. Cheers. Happy Tuesday, February 11th.
Oh
Two
my
days
gosh.
after the Super Bowl. Not very exciting, in my opinion.
And I like football.
Me
Okay.
too, usually.
I can sit down, I can hear, I'm there. I like it. That was gruesome for me. That was
I
hard.
know, right? It felt like the Chiefs were going, here's the ball.
No,
Oops, here's the
they
ball.
gave up that game.
Don't you
That
feel like they
part of
did?
me.
I
Oh,
think so
yeah.
too. I I
They
think
gave it
so.
up.
It
hmm
feels like it. I know that people say that, and I'm like, "Whatever," but now I'm like,
No, they just
"Hmm,
handed them the game.
crazy. Crazy how that worked." Yeah, I was annoyed the whole time. After the halftime, I just turned it off and I went back to my Netflix and finished off my show that I was watching, and I was much happier with that. I was super disappointed.
Well, you probably saw a lot more action on that show. What show did you watch?
Younger, I finished it. It's
Did
good.
you? Do you
Yeah,
like it?
I did like it. It was really good. It was really good. It was worth my time. The Super Bowl just
Okay.
wasn't. I felt
Well,
like it just wasn't worth my time. I'm like, I can't. Even the
the
commercials didn't even. I don't know. I wasn't impressed at all.
what it's not like how it used to be when we were younger, right? Am I missing this? Like, where was the actual authentic funniness? It was slap happy, and everything seemed, and I'm gonna sound old saying this, but everything seemed sexually driven, which everything is because sex sells,
Right.
but it was just the tongue and the fake orgasm or it was just too blatant. I don't
Gosh,
know.
I
It was
think I
just
missed a few things. That must have been in the second half, or I must have been in the bathroom. I missed that.
okay, but what movie had, oh my gosh, who, oh no, Meg Ryan, the one, her
Oh, yes,
and
that was
what's
the
his
commercial they
name?
used. I
You know,
did
when
see
she was
that.
in the restaurant
Oh,
that
I do. Is that what
pretended.
that commercial was about? Her and
Yes,
her.
yeah, that's the same.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you know what? I think it was on, and I didn't even. I do remember seeing Meg Ryan and her husband like flash across the screen, or
No,
what's
it
his
wasn't
face?
her husband. It
Not her
was,
husband. Billy Crystal.
yes,
Is it Billy
Billy
Crystal? Okay.
Crystal.
Hey, point for Holly.
Woo,
Woo woo.
woo.
Maybe this tea is helping. So yeah. Anyways, that was just whatever. I feel
That
like
was a bit, it was a
it
bit
was it
much.
was a disappointment. I feel like that's kind of the consensus of most people, except unless you're a huge Eagles fan, then you were probably on cloud nine. But yeah, Wade agrees with us too. Just kind of terrible all the way around. Anywho, enough about that. So tonight, I thought it would be fun if we got some ideas from people on
Oh, hi,
what
Ryan. I love you too. Thank you so much for joining us.
what people love about where they live, or what they like, what was important to them. Hey, cool kid and Abigail. Hey, Kyle. Thanks for coming in, guys. Quick question for you. So we're going to talk about some things tonight, but we'd love to get your perspective and let us know where you are at in the world or in the country if you're a homeowner. I'm glad you're doing fantastic. I love that. What made you choose your home that you're currently in? Because we've taken some polls. Okay, West Virginia, nice. Chicago, nice.
Oh, I
What made
like
you?
Chicago.
Yes, we love Chicago. We're pretty close. I mean, it's like a 4.5 hour ride. I've always wanted to do the train
5.
to Chicago. I've never done the train. I don't
Me
know
too.
if you've ever done the train to Chicago, but I hear it's like it's
Always
longer, but
wanted
it's kind of
to.
a cool ride.
Well, so getting back to your question, what made you decide the area you wanted to live in? Not just the attributes of the home. Yes, we can say a pool, sidewalks, but besides that, what drove you to the area you live in? Because we took a poll, and I'd love to hear, like, Texas 39, you're from Houston, clearly Texas 39. What made you want to live in the area you do?
Yeah, because we want to know. I want to know if our data points are pretty accurate with. I think really and truly. we're not that different across the country. I mean, yes, if you're like in New York, obviously, you're a huge downtown, big city. If you're out in Montana, clearly you love, the beautiful mystique of all the mountains and just the crystal water and being away from everything. But yeah, so Kyle bought your home because of low property taxes. I love that. Hospital, schools,
Yes.
and close proximity. Also, houses were all sold in the same build price range. Cool Kid says, I wanted to live here because your family's located around here and just thought I'd buy my first house. So, yeah, so you guys this is totally lined up with what we found. Low property taxes, huge, because property taxes can really range.
Bonus.
We've talked about that ad nauseum. Hospitals, obviously, like infrastructure, right? Schools, like when you're a
I didn't
parent,
think about the hospital. Well, I did think about the hospital, but to hear it, I actually didn't when was that on our poll? Did someone say hospital?
I think I
I
might have
think
just put like community services, which kind of incorporates that
okay.
maybe. It could be part of it, but I like that you pulled that out and maybe even work in the medical field, right? But that's important too, you know. Um, I like too, the houses were sold in the same build price range because again, now you know where your value's at. So if everything's kind of selling around the same number, it's a really good indicator that you're going to hold your value instead of like, you've got like a sub over here that's, 100,000 less or a lot older or just, not that eclectic communities aren't amazing because they can be, but when you're thinking about your home value, that makes a lot of sense. So I love that.
Yeah,
And I'm
Kyle said
glad that you thought of
bingo.
that too. Most people don't think of that when they're looking. I mean, some people will ask me. I think the people who have really they've bought a few houses is when they'll say, "Hey, I'm looking at this area versus this area. Which area do you think is going to hold value better when I want to sell?" And I'll say, "Well, how long are you going to stay there?" Right? 5 years, 10 years? And let's look at what they're doing into the infrastructure. A lot of cities in our area are just pushing money in. I love to see it. And we're seeing so much revitalization, especially in Detroit, where CC and I are at. Detroit is on fire right now. The price point has got up 19% in some areas of the city with median home value. Just,
And the
it's amazing.
investment within yourself and the equity that you can gain down here in this area has been fruitful. I've benefited from it, just
Hmm.
extremely fruitful. Where, so for us, I think that, okay, not for us, but for me, I did not take the hospital into consideration because Beaumont, before it changed its name,
Yep. Corwell now. Yep.
yes, we had one in Royal Oak and one in Troy.
Hmm.
So it's centrally located to the area I wanted to live in, so it was never an issue. It was in the radius of where we were going to move. Because I don't know if you knew this, I actually had to go get a compass, the one that turns on the map, like the one
Oh,
with a
wow.
with a pencil. I could
Wow.
only be 35 minutes from his office. No
Oh,
more, no
really?
less. And it came out to about 26 mile, and I couldn't go north of
Why
26
couldn't you?
mile.
I'm confused. You didn't work for a hospital, did you?
No, 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 from Ken's office,
Oh, I got you.
from
Okay.
the Shaner location.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, yep.
That's
So
interesting.
I could only go so far.
I
And of
did not know that.
course, I wanna go south of 59 just because I wanted a different school district. For me, it was school districts. So I wouldn't
Right.
go south of 59, I wanted north of 59. So now I have this compass of this radius, and I was looking at the area you're in, Dakota High School, all those high schools up there for
Right.
Chippewa, Utica, L'Anse Creuse was out of the question. It was too far. So,
So work is huge. So where you work,
yes.
and that's another big factor that people mention too, is they want to be not only proximity to work, but close enough to the actual freeways. Because you know how some areas are landlocked. So,
Yes.
yeah, so we're getting a lot of, okay, so sorry, I'm behind. Let me go back here. So,
Yes.
Illinois property tax located in the suburbs and populated areas, it's expensive. I can only imagine. I've heard the Chicago taxes are, even a lot of the suburbs are expensive. because I've got some people I know that live out in that area. So yeah, your taxes are, you're gonna kind of similar, probably like Detroit in a way. Detroit's actually got a city income tax too. They actually charge an income tax in the city of Detroit. So some big cities will do that, which a lot of people don't know. Some of those, metropolitan areas. So yeah, you got to look at the taxes. And then Texas, so your kids, yeah, so you're like me, like my kids are all graduated. And where are you going to go? So you're in Houston, I think you said. Where are you going to go? I've heard a lot of good things about Texas and how they build communities, which they don't really do it here in Michigan. But in Texas, I have a couple of friends that have moved out there. Three, actually, no, four. Four friends that have moved to Texas, and they all try and get me to move. And I'm like, guys, I got to go to Florida where the water is. I got to have the ocean. I'm with you. I got to leave these winters, but got to have the water.
Gotta
Got
have
to
the
have that water.
snowbird attitude, like
Yes.
the snowbird feeling for sure. While you're waiting, if Texas can respond. So, Kyle said a 30-year mortgage paid 13 annually will cut payment in half. So for him, it sounds like what's important is a decent sized mortgage and then just throwing down the money to pay off the house, which a financial over here loves that. That's my love language. Awesome. If your payment's $1,200, $1,500, make the extra check, that payment for principal only, and just start knocking it down.
Hmm.
Fantastic. Now,
Well,
Wade said a garage, so land.
yeah. And then some besides the garage, some places like more rural areas, a lot of people over in our area within an hour of us, we've got places where they want the pole barn. There's a lot of people that have a business out of their home where they need a pole barn and they fix up cars. There's a probably 100 different things that people could do in a pole barn, but only certain areas will allow that. Just
Oh, the
having those
unicorn
outbuildings.
property.
Yeah, the
Makes
outbuildings that people want. And then, there's some places where some states will allow you to have like another structure. They'll call it like a mother-in-law home. Um, it's called a not an EDU. Oh shoot, there's a name for it, but we don't have as many of them here in Michigan. But many other states, it's like something you can just build another home. We've got rules and different, and they don't always allow that.
a
But
she shed for the mother-in-law.
exactly, you can put a little shed up.
Just
But yeah, those kind of
put a
things,
walkway.
or like maybe you've got the kid that is not a kid anymore and you're like they failed to thrive or something and they're 28 years old and they're still at home. No offense if that's you guys. But like if that's, what I'm saying, like, and the parents are like, it's time for you to at least have your own situation outside of these doors, even if you have to walk 10 paces to walk into another one. Stuff like that. Everyone's got a different lifestyle. And I think we call it lifestyle living for a reason because how people live is what we're finding. That's what's driving how they buy. What's important
Mhm.
to you? You
Yes.
look at Florida, they've got golf communities, they've got HOAs that are specifically tailored to golfing. They've got, senior living, senior communities. We need more of that here. We've got some, but not enough. I think we need a more thriving senior community, for people who are retired and maybe they lost their spouse or maybe they never got married and they're at this stage in their life and it's like, hey, I want to be around some people and go do things. So I love that a lot of states do that really well. I feel like in Michigan, we have to search for the pockets to find specifics like that
Do
for people.
we have one around here?
We have a lot of senior like they're not assisted living, just senior areas. I see them all the time. Now that I'm looking, I will see them all the time, but they're sporadic and they're not like what I would say a community. It's not like this
Not
big,
like
huge
Florida.
community.
It's
No, where they
not
would
a
have like
drive-in
the
gated
grocery store.
community.
Yeah, they don't have like the park, the grocery store, the just, they usually will have like a medical facility kind of a thing. Some people, I don't know if they have to go get their blood pressure checked or they, whatever issues in life, they kind of like tailor community rooms and just things to do. They have all of that. Okay, so Kyle, my property line was grandfathered in. Nobody can get closer to the water than me. So there's another thing
Oh.
too. So
Wow, that's
grandfathered
a big
in.
yes, that's
Yes, it
huge.
is. Yeah, because your setbacks and all of your things. I've known people, I think the rule in different states, like you'll have to keep 2 walls or so many walls, but you can tear down most of it, but you have to keep like a couple, a wall or
One for Houghton Lake. I know that for
okay.
sure. If you keep one wall
That's all you need in
closest
Houghton Lake.
to the water. So there was a establishment that was just purchased. I am so sorry. Hold on. Go.
She likes to
My
be on our
puppy,
lives.
go. I don't know what she's smelling, but something, I don't know if she put a toy down here. My fur baby is just trying to push through my legs right now, and it's irritating. I'm sorry, YouTube land. This is not going well for me over here. Um, so there's this establishment in Houghton Lake, and it was a brand new purchase. Read between the lines, brand
Yep,
new
keep
purchase.
going. Got it. Yep.
And it accidentally caught on fire,
Oh
but
no.
they had to save the wall.
So that they
Um,
could be grandfathered in and rebuild.
Grandfathered in, because if they
Yep.
did, they lost their property. And
Hmm.
somehow,
One
some
wall
way,
survived.
one wall survived, and the
That's
fire
crazy.
station ended up getting a brand new fire truck a couple
Oh
months later
wow. Wow.
because of that mentality.
That's
Even,
not shady.
well, or it was business smart. I don't know.
Still a little shady. No, I get it.
Maybe a little.
Yeah.
But so that
You got to play the
grandfather,
game. Listen, you got to play the game because some of those rules, I get it, but yeah, they want to encroach on some properties too. And sometimes they just want people to let the properties go because they want to do tear downs and they can't.
yeah.
So they
Mhm.
rezone. They play the game. See, they play the game of rezoning. They'll rezone properties. So like that's happened with people where they're on a main road and you start to see like Amazon and all the big, you got industrial and commercial coming and you've got these little houses on the side of the road, which back in the day, it was, Mound Road, I can think of right now because it happened to someone that I know that has properties there. Back in the day, it wasn't as busy a long time ago, these houses when they were built. Now they've rezoned them. And the rule is you have to keep at least 50%. So you can't knock even down. You have to have, you can't even do more than 50%
Oh.
upgrades. So if you wanted to come in and just redo the whole inside, not going to fly. It's like, because you have to get approvals for everything, you can only do 50% upgrades. Aaron
I didn't know
remembers.
that.
Yes, Aaron remembers
Yeah.
the saga I told
Oh,
about.
Aaron's back this week. Thanks
Aaron's
for coming
back.
back.
Guess who's back?
Ah.
Just kidding. So, yeah. So that's the thing. They play that rezoning game and that's how they oust people. So, you know what? If people have to fight back a little bit and, just only the house is on fire, what are we going to do? Just save a wall, right? What can you do? Yes. Yeah, that was a story. We won't even go into that story on Mount. Legally, I don't think I can talk about it,
I
actually. I
don't.
don't think I'm allowed to talk about that, actually.
There's an NDA out there somewhere.
Yeah.
So, but
There's an
getting back
EMD still
to,
sitting somewhere. Anywho, in a title
so
office.
now we did do a poll, and I know we've been asking everybody questions. Let's go back to it again. I'm Cece Machieski. I'm over at Simple Home Lending. Holly Amato. I think you're over here.
Yeah.
Holly Amato, EXP. We are your local and knowledgeable,
Real estate professionals.
respected, yeah,
Yeah.
real estate professionals, which count on us. Ask us questions. If we are not licensed in your state, please ask. We know all the right people, and you're going to hear that throughout our live right now, that we know enough amazing people that can help you answer these questions. So today we're talking about what made you decide to move where you moved. And we did do a poll and we've been asking. So if you're just joining us, jump on, let us know where you're living, as well as what made you decide to purchase where you want to live, or where
Yeah.
you ended up moving, or were you actually, if you're not a homeowner right now, say that you're not a homeowner, still give us a city, but what would make you want to move?
Yeah. Or
I
what's
love
on
that.
your wish list and your must have. Sometimes your
The
wish
wish
list
list.
sometimes your wish list is different than your must have. Like, for example, for me, my wish list is things like, well, I'd love to live, in Birmingham, right? Because it's right there, walkable. We have friends and things to do. The taxes, though, not my favorite. Must have
No.
for me going forward, though. For me, like when I make my next move, for example, like I moved where I'm at now because of schools for my kids. There's 6 schools I can see when I look outside. It's congested, it's buses, it's not exactly where I wanna be now that my kids are a lot of school. So for me, I want that downtown area. So I that's a must have. I do not want to be out in the rural areas that like not being able to find a store quickly enough or a gas station would be miserable for me. I want to be in a
Oh,
thriving city, downtown, walkable restaurants. I want
loud
that.
sound,
Yeah, I don't
the
even care if it's
heartbeat.
the traffic. I mean, if it's not too bad, I can even suck that up. I just want to be in a fun area. Like I don't
Mhm.
want to be out by myself and no, I don't think that's what I want to do. So that's an example of it. So must have versus wish list kind of a thing. You want the poll results. So I don't have them in front of me, but I can basically tell you just to rattle off a few things. I think I saved it on my phone, of course, and so I can't access it right now. People, the big two, if people have
Mhm.
kids, schools, they wanted to be in a school district they felt was going to be best for their kids. Work, so either their commute to work or at least like within, like, say 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I think within an hour most people will go up to, but they also want to be close to that highway. They don't want to have to take a lot of side roads to get to a main artery to get to work because that takes forever. It's different when you're driving, expressway for 30, 40 minutes than if you're sitting at lights. That just seems like a slow death to me when you're driving. So perspective on that, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then walkability and lifestyle. And if they're older, community things that are important to them. Some people are big golfers. So some people are into the rural things. Some people want to live off the grid. They want to have acreage. They want chicken coop because they love the smell. I don't know, or
Fresh.
whatever it is.
Okay, maybe the fresh eggs.
Gardening. Yeah.
I would like
Gardening,
the fresh
all of that.
herbs. That right there,
Yeah.
that's huge. If I could have
Green thumb
just
people.
like just I don't know. I would love fresh herbs. But for me, it really came down when I knew the area I had to move and we built. If you've been following us, I built ground up. I found the lot, I dug, did the floor plans, the whole thing. And the big thing for me was because I was stuck in such a small area, but it's not small, not here in the city. There's so much in that one little space, tons of homes. But we ended up building, and for me, it was a school district. And I was looking into each school. I looked at the ratings of the school. I looked at the school test scores as well as the parents' review, which is different.
Very different.
What very different. So
You
I
got some
did my due
toasty parents
diligence.
sometimes on there that just aren't
Uh,
happy with anything. And they kind of, so I always tell people be careful on those
yes.
sites because sometimes you just get that one parent, that Karen, that just no one can make her happy. And she just goes after everybody. So it's kind of like, sometimes you gotta,
Yeah, and I was thinking that the mixture of the two would be beneficial.
for
And
sure.
to the degree of the challenge I wanted for because my child needed challenge, she would have tapped out being bored.
Yeah.
So I had to
So
find that.
everyone's got their thing. Everyone's got
So
their what's important.
so
And
work first, school was second.
work and school are really close. It depends. People, so the thing was people with kids, school age kids, and then there was some people that didn't, right? So they didn't care at all about schools, except for taxes. Taxes another one. And that was
Okay.
mentioned early on by I forget who it was. I'd have to scroll up.
Ooh,
Taxes.
I think it was Kyle. Here, I'll scroll.
Yeah, so taxes are huge
Orion, I
because
think.
a lot of people don't realize until they start looking at homes that you could be sitting right next to, two different cities. You can walk across the line and your taxes just took a huge leap. That's
Huge.
big. That's going to change your payment. That's your affordability. That cuts into your maybe your vacation fund. So taxes are huge. Besides affordability of the house, obviously, right? Everyone's got to shop within their price point. Taxes. So taxes was another huge one as well, which made a lot of sense. And then someone else mentioned hospitals early on that we saw. We
Mhm.
didn't think about that one. I think that's part of like community services. Really important though, because if like, if you're someone who's, unfortunately got a situation where you've got to be close to a hospital, there's a lot of people in those kinds of scenarios. You don't want to be more than 15 minutes from a hospital. If you're someone that has a child with seizures, or God forbid, someone that's got an EpiPen for that peanut allergy, there's a lot of things that go through your mind. If you're not living that lifestyle, you may not think about it. But again, lifestyle living, what's important to you? So if you're
Mhm.
still on, I see we've got some people on. Give us a quick tap for notifications so you know when we're live, and like us, give us a thumbs up. But throw in where you're from and what was important to you, or what would be important to you next move that you're going to make. Or, maybe this is your final house and you're like, I'm in my lifelong dream, and here's why. This is why I'm never moving again. Besides, we already know what people are going to say about that, because the rate, they're like, I got 2.5% and I ain't moving. Besides that one, because we get that. We understand that too. Besides that rate that you might be locked in from 2021, sitting pretty on your 2.5%. We can't, I can't, what is it? Hate the game, hate the player, not the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or hate the game, not the player. Sorry, I said it
Mm.
backwards. Yeah. Yeah. I get that. But I don't know if there's anything else that I'm trying to think what else was on there besides those items. And I think also, being in Michigan, we just don't have a lot of that big. So here's the thing with Michigan, and anyone who's in Michigan, please let me know if you agree or echo wherever you're at, if this is true. Where we're at, they just kind of paved over where the buggies went. The buggies went down, like Romeo Plank is an example of that. They just started paving wherever the buggies went, wherever the carriages went, they started paving when they made roads. They didn't really take the time to sit and plan the city. Like city planning was not a huge thing. And so what's happening now, because I've talked to our township supervisor here in Macomb, we don't have a mayor, we have a supervisor here. And what they're trying to do, they're trying to create that. So they're trying to like put the parks in after the fact. They've got all these houses, they've got the schools thrown everywhere. Now they're trying to create that community, but it's hard when you already have, things in place. You're just trying to, instead of starting from scratch and doing like an actual community plan, it's a very different process. I wish we would have the ability to have more of that. They're just kind of trying to change it, like Lakeside Mall. They're going to demolish it. They've got plans to make that a huge community of there's going to be houses for sale, your rentals, there's going to be condos, there's going to be restaurants and shops. So they're trying to create a pseudo community in Sterling Heights out of, basically, let's start over. Let's demolish this big, huge mall and kind of start over. So, we're trying to see that. We've got areas like Royal Oak and Birmingham and Rochester where we have downtown areas. Plymouth, we were talking about before we went live, has a great downtown area, Plymouth Canton area,
Brighton.
Brighton, South Lyon. So there's a lot of areas. Detroit, obviously, they want to turn Pontiac. They want to revive the big monies. There might be some big money going into Pontiac. They might really come in.
Really?
Yeah, the Oakland Township, what is his name? He just was elected. They want to create a downtown for Oakland County, similar to Detroit, but on a much smaller scale, because Detroit is like, Detroit, but it's Wayne County. They want their own, and they want to use that Woodward corridor um,
That would be smart.
by where
That would
UWM. It's by similar to where kind of where UWM is. I think that'd be the northern part of it. They want to do that.
I think that
Aaron's
would be
talking about
smart.
Dearborn. I would love to hear more about Dearborn. Dearborn's got a lot going on too. They've got the Ford family, obviously, with Ford, the Ford family, the
There
Greenfield Village, and
and the restaurants.
yeah,
Okay, so I have, like, a very small TikTok window or Facebook Reels, like, I have a certain time that I'm like, "Okay, I'll zone out and I'll do it." There are so many restaurants that keep catching my eye. They're in the that's in the Dearborn area, and it looks so delicious. It's how long do you think that is? Like 15 minutes from
Oh,
us?
it's at least an hour from me because I worked in Dearborn, just not very much, just because it depends on the time of day. I would say Dearborn Heights, an hour and 15 from me. And yeah, it is a huge city. It's definitely growing leaps and
Yeah.
bounds. And it's I mean, once you jump on 94, but it's like the time of day. Like if you're coming home, if you're coming this way from there, misery. But if you're going there certain times, in the morning it's going to be rough because any that's the direction of traffic. But yeah, it's a little bit of a hike for us. Farther even for you because you're farther west than me. You might even take 75, and I don't know if you'd want to do the whole road though.
Mhm.
There's really no best way, but you probably would, depending on the time of day. Southfield Freeway, yes, but Southfield Freeway is super close to like Detroit, Royal Oak, Birmingham, all of that. Woodward, it services that really well. We're out of that loops. We have to get to it. But yeah, it's smart to learn all of those. It's smart to learn all those. And we don't have a mass transit. Ooh, that's something else. Mass transit. So when you're moving to a new area, is it important to you that you have a bus system, that you have, taxi, that you have a subway? We really don't have a lot of that here in Detroit because we're the motor city and they purposefully didn't want us to because they wanted everyone to buy their own car, which is another reason why we don't really have that big of a transit system. They're trying to rectify that a little bit, but it's never going to be what New York or Chicago is going to have.
No, and then it goes as far as how they designed the roads of Detroit. It's like a spoke. You have your circle and you have the roads that go out from downtown Detroit, like Woodward, right to Campus Martius. That's why it'd be cool if Pontiac from Campus Martius, which is the beginning of Woodward, and the end of Woodward being Pontiac. That would actually be a really cool loop to do. Be able to go down Detroit, head up Woodward, and then you're passing Royal Oak, you're passing Ferndale, you're passing um, Birmingham, and then to get to Pontiac. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Hmm.
Oh, the French design wait, the French
Designed, I think, yeah,
designed
designed the spoke
this
method. What
the
you're just
spoke
talking about.
method.
Yeah, what you just talked about,
Mhm.
the spoke. Yeah.
Yes, that would be
Well, that
cool.
makes sense because I was a fifth grade teacher, y'all, 22 years ago, and Detroit was a French. It was the fur traders. I'm going to get a little bit of this wrong. I taught it back 22 years ago. Fur trading was a big post in Detroit, so they walked and did the fur trading and all the things. That makes perfect sense. Why that would be. So a little bit of history too, guys. I mean, we're just knocking it out of the park tonight.
Yeah, I love it. I did see one comment was about natural gas versus propane. So in
Oh,
a rural
mhm.
development area, that's where actually just got off the phone with a client of mine. She found a unicorn property. She was one of gosh, I think she bought her property, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago. She's on 10 acres. Beautiful. Has a pond, the house, the pole barn, and she has horses. And she was absolutely in love with it. It had city water on a dirt
What?
road. I know, complete unicorn
Wow.
property. I know. So it is huge where everybody wanted to live on this road. And when the homeowners found out how valuable the homes were, they're like, "Why would they buy that?" She was the first one to buy on the street, and then every house sold right after her. When they saw how much that they received, those homeowners, they own the original owners. Who would think the home that they bought for $2,000? We saw that in one of the records.
Wow.
Original owner, $2,000. and now they're selling it for 560,000.
Okay, that's insanity.
Insane, and it was family
Okay,
community
that's the
property.
best what that's a great real estate investment. Anybody want anyone wanna beat that? I remember my dad told me my parents bought their house in Detroit for 25,000 on a land contract, um, in, like, let's see, I wasn't born yet, so 75, and then I was born in 77, and then they only lived there until 78. I was, like, 1 when we moved because the house got broken into. My mom was like, "Time to go." But, yeah, we were an 8 mile.
Roll out.
I was an 8 mile child, if anyone didn't know. And yeah, so, but I remember seeing my dad gave me the address, and that house came up a couple years ago for sale. I don't remember what it sold for, but it looked so bad. It was beat down, like it didn't make it through. It's probably gonna be a tear down. Someone's probably gonna grab it
Oh,
and tear it
no.
down. It looked like it became a crack house, unfortunately. But yeah, it's like, looking
Mm,
at in the 80s, and then my dad bought the house he's in now. He bought it for 83,000, and I could sell his house easily. I would say 375, 350 to 375. I could
okay.
sell him for. So, and it was built in late 70s, and we bought it early 80s. So, yeah, I mean, real estate is an investment. So, when you're looking at, one of the things you should ask your real estate agent, it should be me, but if it's not, because you're not in Michigan, I understand, it's okay.
Or Florida.
Right, or Florida, because I'm licensed there too. You should be asking your realtor what is going on in this area, and he or she should be able to say, well, how long are you going to be there for, right? Because if you're going to sell in 5 years, that's different than maybe if you're going to stay there, and your heirs are going to sell it, right? So, what's going on in that area? What do they have? What do they have set? And sometimes it's as simple as just calling the city and saying, hey, do you guys have any plans? Anything going to be coming up? What's going on with city development, city planning? Any rezoning going on? What are you doing? What's your 10-year plan for the city right now? Where is it going toward? Are you bringing in industries? Are you bringing in commercial? What are you doing? Are you looking to let people build more homes? Are they going to be condos? Ask the questions, and then you can kind of make a decision on, if this looks like it's going to be a hot spot. What Cece just said, having water and a dirt road, that's huge, right? So things that people would want, find out if that's what they're going to do. What does that trajectory look like? And then, yes, you could be sitting on a place that, you know, is going to sell super high, because it's going to be a place that people want to be. Always, you want to pick the place that people want to be. You don't want to be the subdivision that's right next to the trash heap, right? Where the garbage is, or something major like that, or if it's a dumping ground, or there's obvious things, that's always going to be a deterrent. Not saying don't live there. Maybe you need that price point and you're fine with it, but just
Yeah.
remember, resale is going to be tough. Think about
Oh,
resale.
so let's backtrack just a little bit. You said something, and I want everybody to understand what you just said is huge. And let me just tell everybody in a recap what you just did. I want everybody to know how important it is to find the right realtor, not just a real estate agent, a realtor. What Holly just said was a lot of information. What Holly just gave an example of was someone who's embedded in the community, asking all the right questions. When you go to, and I call interview, I think you do too. When you go
Hmm.
to interview the professionals you're going to work for, because you always want to do that regardless of industry. But when you work with a realtor, not a real estate agent who's just slapped their name up there, you want to ask, how well do you know this community? Are you asking the big questions, the growth, where it's going, the new businesses? So I'm part of the Women's Council of Realtors in my area. I sit on the board, and we actually have a community panel that we host on an annual basis. We bring in city officials, we bring in business owners, we bring in individuals who can answer these big questions to help uplift the quality of realtors that are out there. And what Holly just said and just gave an amazing example of, this is who you need to work with. If it's not her, call us. will find someone just like her because that's huge. And I had to pause you because that was so valuable.
Oh,
And I
thank
want you to
you.
understand that right there is an all-star agent who knows
Aw,
what
thank
they
you.
want and will get to that mark. Not just negotiations. I mean, you're an amazing negotiator, but knowing the community and hearing and doing silly polls like this
Right.
of
Well, because we
what
need to
makes
know.
everybody want to move.
Yeah,
And
that's what I love when people answer questions when we ask them, because we want you on our live. We want you to like and tap the bell and do all the things, but we want some feedback because
yes,
obviously, and it's nice to hear from people outside of Michigan as well, because what's happening in different areas is still going to affect us.
hmm
When we start to see job trends change, right? We are starting to actually see people moving back to Michigan. Believe it or not, we've got people moving back to Michigan. We've got people, as much as you and I want to be down in Florida, there's a lot of people that are leaving Florida. Those hurricanes, they scared some people. They're talking about all kind of different things that are going to change the landscape of the land, the HOA fees that go up, the insurance cost that goes up. We've got wildfires in California. So, different things that are happening across the country are going to affect us. So, we have to keep our thumb on that heartbeat and hear from people and find out what makes people tick, what's important to them, how important is it, because when I hear somebody saying to me, Holly, we're moving back from Florida, two different people. One, they're scared of the hurricanes. The other one
yes.
said, listen, we tried really hard. We thought maybe that we could do it without having a strong community of people around us. They didn't like meet as many people as they wanted. They missed their friends. They just were like, we want to come back, like the Cheers bar where the people know my name and they know my drink. And I sit down and they're like, do you want a Cosmo with Tito's? And we don't want any simple syrup and it's got to be pink and not red. Yes. Yes. Some people, anyways. I don't know who they
And
are. They might have been on our poll. It might be important to somebody, you know?
my hair would be one of them. So my hair is actually crimped,
I know where
not
you're
really
going with
like
this.
scrunched. Oh, I don't think like the August and actually my mom is watching right now. So everybody has to say hi to Sally. If you
Hi,
want to
Sally.
comment, I don't know. I know you can't see the comments, but my mom's on right now.
No, I
She
can see
lives
her
in
comment.
Florida. No, everybody else who's watching.
Oh,
Um, but she absolutely loves August and the warm weather. Me, my hair will go poof and
everybody's
get
hair
curly.
goes poof in Florida. Even my stick straight hair becomes curly. It does like a not a pretty thing. It does a humidity. But here's the positive. Nobody does their hair. If you're in Florida, if you are in southern Florida in the summertime, nobody's hair is done. And I asked somebody, I said, listen, I want to be working in the Lauderdale, Miami area. What do you guys do? And she told me, she's like, I said, if you have to go somewhere, what do you do? She's like, you get a wig. She was serious. So this is a lifestyle thing that I had to learn. I'm like, so I have to invest in some wigs.
A wig?
Can you imagine how fun that's going to be
Wait,
for me?
wait, wait.
I'm almost a little obsessed with the idea of getting a wig so
Okay,
that my hair always looks
girl
perfect. Why
talk,
didn't I think of
girl
that?
talk. I would love to see my hair. Like, I would love an extreme bob.
It's called the long bob.
Lob? Is
That's
it
what you're talking.
lob?
The
I
long
would
bob.
love to try that. No, I really don't want to because I really like the length of my hair, but I would love just to see what it looks like on. Ooh.
Yes.
Could I do like
You do whatever you
blonde with
want.
like pink highlights or something crazy?
I've already done pink. I've done pink. I've done purple. I love putting color in my hair. Julia's done purple. Her hair looks really good with the purple in
Oh,
it. It looks
Julia's
beautiful.
hair.
Her hair
Like that
color
was great.
is my favorite.
Yeah, that purple. Oh, we lost Holly.
Am I
Oh, there
back?
you are.
Sorry, that was my son. He's probably gonna call again too. But yeah, that her hair color, like what it is right now, I'm like, that's it. Don't change it. That's
Beautiful.
perfect. I love
And
it.
she flies to what state again?
Arizona to get it done to see
Yes.
Chrissy. Yeah.
Yep.
They
She's
fly her. She
sh
doesn't pay for it. They fly her. It's a good marketing for
does
them because
does
she gives
not
them a ton of
matter.
content. Yeah.
She
Yeah.
it's what's good about that is just, like, that's commitment to hair.
Yeah. But, can you imagine if somebody told me, if some top hair said, "Hey, I'll fly you out to New York for the day to get your hair done," I'd be like, "Okay." Who would say no to that? I'm on the next flight. Let's go. Tell me when it takes off. Wheels up. I'm out. So
Wheels up.
wheels up. I'm out. Runway. Just get
Yeah.
me down. Get those sticks going. So yeah. So I mean, there's so many things that people. Here's what's important. What's important is what's important to you about your home search. You can come up with something so crazy to someone else, but if it's important to you, it needs to be important to your agent and the person that's getting you funded, because we need to be able to let you know, hey, well, by the way, in that area there
Mhm.
might be a loan product that works best for you. When we know what's important to you, we can make your dreams come true at the best rate and for the best price, right? And in the least amount of time. The more information we have, communication is really key. Working together, and teamwork makes the dream work. Yes, I said it. I know it's a thing. I said it. I said it. Yeah, for the 150th time. But that's what it is. If it's important to you, it's important to us. And I'm going to always give my 2 cents, because it might be worth 500,000 one day from what Cece just said, or 498,000
Yeah,
someday.
you never
You
know.
might make
You
half a
never
million
know.
listening to me. You never know. But what's important, you got to live there. Some people also, the other side of the coin, some people are so worried about resale that they don't enjoy their home. So I've also had people like, well, I wanted to paint this room a color, but I was afraid. I'm like, paint the room.
You
Paint
live
the
once.
room. Enjoy it.
Forget
If
about
it's
it.
crazy, if it's zebra stripes and polka dots, you repaint it before you list. Painting's not that big a deal. Painting's really not that expensive. That's one thing.
Inexpensive.
That's one thing you really should make it yours when
Just
you live in a home. Enjoy your space. Inside the four walls, enjoy the space. Of course, those things can be changed, but you can fix them back up before you move, but make it the way you want to make it. I did have somebody who wanted a really huge primary. So they took a wall out, instead of two bedrooms, made it one huge primary. And I did have to have that conversation. I'm like,
they had to put it
when you go to
back.
sell,
Put it back.
as a three-bedroom house, now it's a two-bedroom house. Four to three, not as big of a deal. Three to two, big deal.
Big deal.
Big deal. But if
Big.
if this floats your boat, as long as we've talked about it and you understand that this is going to cost you when you resell unless you put it back, then do what makes you happy. Right? It is your home. You should enjoy it. Our
And
job is to make
painting
sure you
is
get the most out of
inexpensive.
it. Pardon me.
And I said painting is inexpensive, and to have a
So easy.
professional do it
Yeah,
properly, or if
exactly.
you know how to do it, I don't. So when you're painting, the whole I I can
You've never painted
cut
before?
in. I can cut in.
Oh, I hate the cutting. The cutting is the
I
first part.
Yeah, I'm
I love the
fantastic at it.
rolling. Oh, I could
I
roll for
can't.
days.
Oh,
I
perfect. So
can't
we're
do
made in
ceilings.
heaven.
I can't do
Done.
ceilings. My neck, I can't do ceilings, but I can roll for days. The taping and the cutting is what, oh, I hate. Other than that, I can roll for days.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's why we know people, and we people collect the right people that are
absolutely. You have a
fantastic
friend
at what they
party. You
do.
do a paint party with your friends. Make sure your friends can paint. But then you'll get some food. Not pizza, guys. Nobody wants pizza anymore. We want
Nobody wants
sushi. We
pizza.
want Lebanese grill. We want, fancy cocktails. Not too much though, because again, painting the
Ooh,
house.
ooh, ooh,
Gotta be
ooh.
careful
Hold
with
on.
that.
Wait, wait. I always make fun of this whenever someone's like, if you want to come over and do arts and crafts or do something that I don't know how to do, I'm like, see my wrist? It's so pretty. I can pour a glass of wine for everybody. Like, I can
I
mix
will
the
feed
drinks.
you. Yes.
I will pour the drinks for you. Just,
Incentivize people.
yeah,
There's
see,
got to
see,
be
look,
incentives. People
look.
need to be
That's
incentivized.
that's art. Like, look at
Yeah.
that. Look at that. I could just like
You
pour
have to give
perfectly.
something to the cause. So if that's your
Yes.
commitment to the cause, then, if you have to pay people off. But yeah, make it your home, enjoy it, live in it, but make sure you're talking with someone who will help you pick the location, because it is location, location, location. That's one thing I can't change for you. You can technically, I guess, lift your house, but don't ever do that. So let's just say you can't because that's ridiculous. Don't do that. Don't ever lift your house and take it somewhere else. Your location is your location. Everything about the house can be changed. Pick the right location if you're really concerned about that investment. Because if when you turn around to go sell it, or if you want to become a landlord and have a few properties and rent it out, get a portfolio started, talk to CC and get your whole little investor thing going,
Mhm,
then you want to ask different questions, right? You want to know, what are the rents like in this area? Somebody else might, who's moving into an area, a question I just thought of would ask is, hey Holly, how many renters are in this area? Because some areas are really high rentals that will affect value, because you know, historically renters just don't care for the house like an owner does. Think about it. If you have a lease car, you're not worried if you have a little ding on it, as long as they're not going to charge you for it. It's not your car, you're giving it back. Same thing with the house. So some people ask, how many people are renters? Because I want to know, if I'm, Martha Stewart, and I want my house to look like she lives here, and I've got renters all over the place who probably not so much,
mm,
that might be an issue when you go to sell your house, is the curb appeal, right? So all these things that you didn't know you needed to know, why you need a professional to help you out with that.
and it's good that you brought that up because my hairstylist normally doesn't do my hair in her house. It's not a thing. I go to the studio, I get my hair done. They were under construction, and in order to keep on track, I had to go to her house. And so when I drove down her street, the first block was, um, I was questioning if I was in the right area. That's all I'm gonna say. And then I got to the second block and it was completely different. So I park, I go up, we're doing our hair, she's doing my hair, and Michelle is telling me how the first block of her street that 2 investors came in and literally bought all the homes and turned them into their portfolio. Fantastic, my investor friends, I love you. I get it. I would do the same thing, have them all right there. It's easy. Unfortunately, you can tell.
Oh yeah.
And so when she
Yep,
told me, yeah, it's the first block was bought up, you can tell the difference. And I said that. I'm like, the moment I drove down here, I did kind of second guess it a little bit. I mean, it wasn't bad, but you just kind of knew.
for sure.
So
It's they're in a
that was a good
turnover.
point.
They're
Yeah,
turning
it's
over. They're
such
doing
a
it in
good
Detroit
point.
right now. I showed houses in Detroit. This house on this street, the photos were gorgeous. And even we got inside it, I was like, I mean, the photos always like a little bit better, but it was still beautiful. But surrounding area was kind of like, there were some houses that were boarded up down the block. And I was talking with the listing agent and I said, is this one of those areas where they're starting to turn, where the investors are coming? She said it is. I said, okay,
Mm.
how many years? Do you think it's going to be a 5-year plan? She said, I would guess a 5-year plan. And I needed to
That's
know that.
important to know.
I needed to
That's
know that
so
to talk to my
important to
clients. Like,
know.
yeah, I'm like, you're going to be in this construction. You're going to be in this
Mhm.
type of scenario for about 5 years, because they're going to be grabbing them, rehabbing, flipping, and going to the next one and going to the next one. But the good news is they're doing it. If if the
I
investors
like the
come,
growth.
you know you're in an area of growth, because the girl, sorry, someone just texted me and said, "Hey, girl," just took me off of my whole
Do
game.
you like when people text you, you can
No,
only
it
see the
stresses me
first
out.
2
I'm like,
lines?
why are
You
you
can
doing that to
only
me? Don't you know I'm on live? Why does everybody have to text me?
you can
Um,
only read the first sentence or
right. And I
2
tried not
maybe.
to, but she kept doing it. And it's like, "Hey, girl," and I'm like, so I said the word "girl"
What?
now, and it was not supposed to be girl.
Why she shouldn't be
Investors.
on your live.
I know, right? But yeah,
Oh,
just knowing those things, if the investors come, it's kind of like, if you build it, they will come. When the investors start building it, the people start to get like, okay,
mhm.
this is an area that's going to be up and coming. This is an area that we should grab now. That's the catch 22. If you grab it now, you might get a better deal, but you got to live through the construction phase and the turnover. If you wait, you're going to pay more. So you gotta
Yes.
weigh that out. What's more
Oh,
important?
and I've seen it plenty of times over and over. I know we don't have time for more stories. Um, we have been live for 54 minutes
We
and 10
have. We've got a
seconds.
great discussion tonight.
Hold on. Cheers.
Cheers to everybody's
Yes.
conversation. Thank you for like bringing your comments. That means a lot. If you're watching this past, so this is live. If you didn't guess, if you're watching this later, there's a playlist and it's all the real estate. It's really real estate and mortgage. Feel free to binge watch us. Go to the next one from last week and just keep watching. But we do this every week. Cece and I, Cece Machieski with Simple Home Lending. I'm Holly Amato with EXP. We do this every week. Tuesdays, 6:30 Eastern. We always have a topic. Sometimes it's a hot topic. So we love that too. And we get to give our own opinions because, hey, why not do? And we really want to serve the community. So if you've got questions, comments, feel free to put them in this episode. Even if we're not still live, we'll still see them. Give us some ideas and thoughts for next week or for future episodes. We're going to be talking about different. I know we're going to be talking about tax bills coming up because we're going to be having that situation.
We
That'll be
need
topic
to.
soon. Yeah, so let us
Huge,
know.
huge. I need to discuss that.
Yeah, this
That
is not a tax bill when you get
I
that in the
know.
mail.
I really want to discuss it. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah. So if you are still on, or if you're joining us, or if you're watching later, tap that bell for notifications. That'll make sure that you know when we're live and when there's new content that's put up. Give us a little thumbs up for the like, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Hold on, before we go, can
Okay.
we take a selfie? A live selfie?
Can we do that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. All
So
right.
I'm gonna take a selfie. So
Okay.
you oh wait, I think I can.
Don't wait.
Okay, so
Okay.
you have to smile. Don't laugh. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Okay. That was
Okay,
like 10 minutes. Did you get it?
I think so. Should I
Okay.
do one more because we
No.
get picky?
Only if you can do it fast.
Okay,
Can you do it fast?
yeah, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
I love the counting. Thank you for the countdown. I was like, keep your eyes open, keep your eyes open.
Don't blink.
Don't blink.
Don't do it.
Don't blink the
Don't do it.
eyes.
Keep the face. Wait, how do you like suck it in? And all right.
Yeah, all the things. Well, at least we're not
Mm.
standing, so I don't have to suck it in. I'm just sitting.
No, but like this
I know. If we were in the Greek
for
wedding and
me.
we were good friends, we would pull each other's, what do they pull each other's neck back?
Oh,
They
that.
do that. Yeah, they pull each other's neck back.
Mm.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excited about that time of life. And with that, everybody have a great week. We will see you on Tuesday. Be blessed.
Bye.